Hi, Jay Garrett from joshgarrett.info here. I'm just going to do a quick demo today where I show you how to do a little trick to use send and return tracks with instrument racks. So if you've poked around a lot within drum racks and instrument racks, you've probably noticed that drum racks have a feature that instrument racks don't, which is built-in send and returns. So I'm just going to demonstrate this with a drum rack. So just one of mine here. This is one I sometimes use for demoing. Okay, so these are some drums that I've got. So here, if I've got my kick drum, okay, and you see that I've got my chains showing. So my chain selection's open, and I've got my I/O selected. So you want to make sure that you've turned that on in order to be able to use sends and returns. And then hit S to enable the sends, and R to show your returns. Now, right now I have no returns. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in an audio effect in there, like maybe a ping pong delay. That's always a good one to show. Okay, so right now you can see there's nothing being sent to the ping pong delay with my kick. I've got two sends here. I've got actually two different kick drums on that pad. So I'm just going to send both of them into A at 100%. So there you can hear that the kick drums are going into that. Okay, and that's a send, right? So you still get the dry signal, so it's not insert effect. And the nice thing about this is it keeps it nice and clean. It's right within the rack. If you expand the rack, you can see all of it, and here's the send and all that stuff. So you've got basically something very similar to what you have in the regular mixer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete the drum rack because I was just using that to show the send and return. And now I'm going to put an instrument rack in place. Okay, so the instrument rack is currently empty. I'm just going to take a couple of my instruments from operator, if I have them still. Well, let's see. Let me just put something else in here. Maybe I've got another instrument rack that I can put in. Okay. So let's see. I've got, let's put in double saw. So now I've got this instrument within the rack. So I've basically, you can see I've got a rack within a rack. So I've got a nested rack here. Don't worry about that. That doesn't really matter for what we're looking at here today. So I'm just going to turn out so I can show the chains. Okay, so I've got double saw, and that's my first chain. And I'm just going to simplify this and just show that. And then I'm going to put in dirty alpha bass underneath. Okay, so you can hear I've got both synths going, and they're both coming through with everything coming, all the MIDI that's coming into the instrument rack is playing both instruments. Again, you can gate that, and you can set like what velocity and key and what chain select selects each instrument. I'm not going to get into that for now. That's a pretty basic part of instrument racks. But let's say that I just want this double saw to go through some sort of effect, and I don't want the double LFO to go through, but I want to use a send effect. I don't want to use a 100% wet insert effect, or maybe I've got a chain of effects off of a return that I want to use. But for some reason, I want to use a send effect and not an insert. And I'm going to put some reverb out here, and I'm going to drop that onto return A. And I'm going to set to 100% wet. And then I'm going to put a simple delay onto B, and I'm going to give it a good amount of feedback and also make it 100% wet. So let's say back in my instrument rack here that I want to send the double saw into my reverb and my double LFO into my simple delay. Now, because they're audio from these, if I turn the MIDI back on, it's flowing through this whole channel. I could use those. But now everything, both of the instruments I'm putting out, is going into both of these. And that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select an audio track here, audio channel, and I'm going to select I/O to show my in and out settings. And I'm just going to move these to the right to keep track of a little bit more. And I'm going to take a look at that, and double saw and double LFO. So let's name this one double saw. And I'm going to add another track and name it double LFO. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is under double saw, I'm going to select audio in, and I want that to come from an instrument rack on channel 1. I'm going to tell it to monitor that. And then under the instrument rack, I now have my tap point. So for the tap point, I want double saw, and maybe I want it post effects. Okay, so I'm just going to turn, well actually I'll leave that on because that's my dry signal. And now I can send this to A. So let me give this a really long decay. And of course you can mess around with this. Okay, so what you can hear is that only the double saw is going through there. The big double LFO bass is not. Okay, so I could do the same thing over here on double LFO and tell it that I want to go to instrument rack 1. And under here, I want to select double saw post effects. Set it to in. And then I'm going to send that to B. And then turn the chain on. So I've got the double saw going through reverb. And I've got the double LFO going through delays now. So if I turn that off. So there's double LFO going through the delay. And there's double saw going through reverb. And can turn everything back on. So if I turn these off, you'll hear just the dry signal again. Same thing with the effects sends turned on. So basically what these two audio tracks are doing is they're just monitoring segments of this instrument rack and then rerouting those into the sends. So the other thing you could do is say set these to sends only so that you're not doubling up on the dry signal. There we go. So now the dry signal is strictly coming through channel 1, and the signals from channels 2 and 3 are only being sent to the sends that they're configured for. So, if you have any questions, feel free to just write me in the comments section or drop me an email at info@jgarrett.info. If there's any other suggestions or anything you'd like to see within Live that you think I can help you with, I'm always looking for input on demos. So thanks.